The Dragon Kingdom had never faced a sickness like this. Deep inside the Grand Palace, in a room gilded with gold and crimson tapestries, the Dragon Princess lay weak and pale. Her scales, usually bright and shining like molten jewels, were now dull and flickering. No dragon doctor could find the cause. They poked, prodded, and whispered among themselves, but all their magic and medicines failed. "Her life force is fading," said Elder Draconis, the oldest dragon healer in the kingdom. His voice shook, unusual for a dragon of his age. "I have never seen this before. Nothing in our scrolls can help her." The princess, only a few hundred years old but wise beyond her years, clenched her claws. Her amber eyes, usually fierce, now flickered with pain. "Why can't anyone see what's wrong with me?" she whispered to herself, her voice trembling. Outside the room, servants scurried. The palace felt heavy with fear. Dragons of all ages, from tiny hatchlings to mighty warriors, gathered in secret corners, exchanging worried glances. Rumor spread that even the magic of the oldest dragons could not save their princess. Among the bustling human servants, one young man, barely more than a boy, paused in the corridor. His name was Kael. He had served the royal family for years, cleaning, delivering messages, and keeping quiet about what he saw. But tonight, he sensed something different, something no dragon had noticed. The princess, unable to sleep, had slipped from her bed and huddled near the corner. Her breaths came shallow and fast. Kael quietly entered, carrying a small lamp. "Your Highness," he whispered, careful not to alarm her. The princess flinched, weakly waving him closer. I feel it under my bed," she said. "Something is hiding, something small but sharp. It burns me from inside." Kael's heart raced. He had seen many strange things serving the palace, but nothing like this. He crouched carefully, shining the lamp beneath the ornate bed frame. What he saw made his eyes widen. Tiny glowing specks floated in the shadows, moving like little sparks of fire. They are not normal," Kael murmured. "No dragon magic can make fire dance like this in the dark." The princess shivered, her wings trembling. "I feel them inside me, eating me, burning me. I cannot fight them." Her voice broke. Tears welled up, glimmering like morning dew on her scales. Kael's mind raced. Humans were not as strong as dragons, but they had knowledge the dragons sometimes ignored. Books, herbs, simple tricks of observation. "Do not fear, princess," he whispered. "I will find out what these are. I will help you." He moved closer and reached under the bed. The specks darted away at first, but Kael was patient. Using a small glass jar, he managed to trap a few of them. They glowed brighter inside, pulsing like tiny hearts. "I don't know what you are," he said softly, "but I promise I will stop you." Meanwhile, the dragons outside the princess's room had noticed her distress. They knocked on her door, voices filled with panic. "Princess, are you in pain? We will summon the grand healers." The princess shook her head, barely lifting her voice. No one can help me." "But he can," she said, pointing faintly at Kael. The room fell silent. Kael looked at her in surprise. A human? Could he really be the one to save a dragon? "Please, Kael," she whispered. "Look closer. Don't stop beneath me. You will find it." Kael nodded. He spent hours examining the area, watching the specks carefully. Each time they tried to escape, he noticed a pattern, like they were feeding on something invisible, something alive inside her. It made no sense. Dragons were strong. Magic was strong. And yet, something so small could hurt the princess. As the night deepened, Kael sat beside her bed, holding the jar with the glowing parasites. He whispered to himself, "No one could see this, but I can. I have to find a way to stop them." The princess, weak but trusting, rested her head on her claw. For the first time in days, she felt hope. "If anyone can help me, it is you," she said softly. Outside, the moon shone over the palace towers. The night air was calm, yet inside the dragon kingdom, a storm of fear and uncertainty raged. No dragon could cure her, but maybe, just maybe, a human could. And so, the first step of a strange alliance began, one that would shake the kingdom, challenge every dragon belief, and reveal that courage and intelligence were not bound by scales or wings. The first rays of dawn barely touched the towers of the Dragon Kingdom when Kael, the human servant, was still crouched beside the princess's bed. The glowing specks in the jar pulsed faintly, like captured fireflies. He studied them carefully, trying to understand what they were. "They are feeding on her life force," he whispered to himself. "No dragon medicine can touch them. They are something else, something magical, but not dragon magic." The dragon princess, though weak, watched him with curiosity. "Can you save me?" she asked, her voice trembling. "I've seen all the healers fail. No dragon could stop them." Kael shook his head slowly. "I don't know yet, princess, but I will find a way. I have to." He spent the morning gathering everything he could from the palace library. Ancient human scrolls, old books about magical creatures, even dusty journals of previous servants. All might hold the answer. He noticed that the glowing specks avoided certain herbs and metals. Perhaps these were clues, something no dragon had ever tried. Kael took a deep breath and carefully released a few specks onto a glass dish. They moved quickly, darting back and forth. Using his hands and simple tools, he experimented, testing their reactions to light, water, and herbs. Each reaction gave him a small insight. "They hate silver and sunlight, and this particular herb," Kael murmured, jotting notes in his notebook. "Maybe these can stop them." The princess lay quietly, listening. She was too weak to move, but her mind raced. "How did they get inside me?" she asked softly. "I was careful. I never left my chambers. How could something so small hurt me so much?" Kael paused. "I don't know yet, but someone must have brought them here. Or maybe they found a way by themselves. Either way, they are dangerous, princess, stronger than anything dragons have faced before." A shadow passed across the room as Elder Draconis peeked in. The old dragon's eyes widened at the sight of Kael, working with the strange creatures. What are you doing, human?" he asked, voice trembling with surprise and suspicion. Kael stood calmly. "These are the cause of her sickness," he said, holding up the jar. "I trapped them. I believe they are magical parasites, feeding on her life force. Dragons cannot see them, but I can." The elder Draconis hissed softly. "A human sees what we cannot. Impossible." The princess, weak but determined, lifted her head. "It is true, Elder. He is helping me. You have failed." The room grew tense. Dragons prided themselves on their strength and knowledge. To admit a human might help was almost unthinkable. But the princess's eyes, full of pain and trust, made them pause. Kael spent the next hours observing the specks. He noticed that they were sensitive to emotion and energy. When the princess tried to focus her thoughts on hope, the creatures slowed down. When fear and pain took over, they pulsed violently, feeding faster. This is how they survive, Kael realized. They feed on fear, on suffering. They are drawn to strong life force, but they can be weakened if the host is calm. Kael's mind raced. Dragons were strong and fierce, but they were proud. They would never sit quietly and meditate. Humans, however, could think differently. He made a plan. Using simple tools, herbs, and a bit of human ingenuity, he could trap the parasites outside her body while giving her strength to recover. The princess looked at him with a faint smile. "You really think you can stop them?" she asked. Kael nodded, determination shining in his eyes. "I don't just think it, princess. I know I can. We have to act carefully, but there is a way. You have to trust me completely." Elder Draconis, still skeptical, muttered, "If this human fails, it could cost her life." Kael ignored the old dragon. He was focused on the task. He carefully placed the glowing specks in a small containment circle he drew with chalk and herbs. Slowly, he chanted a mix of human words and old dragon syllables he had learned from the palace scrolls. The creatures reacted violently, spinning in the air, but they could not escape the circle. The princess's breathing eased slightly. It feels better," she whispered. Kael smiled faintly, though sweat ran down his brow. "It's only the beginning, but it is a start. I will study them, learn their patterns, and find a way to stop them completely." The elder Draconis looked on, his pride battling disbelief. "A human may actually save a dragon," he muttered under his breath. Night fell again, and Kael sat beside the containment circle, jotting notes and observing every tiny movement of the glowing specks. For the first time in days, the princess slept peacefully. For the first time, there was hope. Outside, the castle towers glimmered under the moonlight, unaware that a small human servant had uncovered a hidden clue that could save the dragon princess. A secret that no dragon healer could see, and a secret that, if used wisely, could change the kingdom forever. Days passed in the dragon kingdom, but the dragon princess's condition only improved slightly. The parasites were contained, thanks to Kael's careful observation and clever traps, but they were still inside the castle, waiting for a chance to attack again. The princess could rest, but she was not yet safe. Kael knew that containment was not enough. He had to find a cure, a way to remove the parasites completely. And for that, he needed more than observation. He needed to experiment. The princess watched him quietly. Though her wings trembled and her scales were dull, she felt hope like never before. "Do you really think you can make something to save me?" she asked, her amber eyes filled with curiosity. Kael nodded, determination shining in his face. "I believe I can, but it will not be easy. I have to combine human knowledge with dragon magic. It may be risky, but we have no choice." He began gathering everything he could use: herbs, scrolls, metals, and small tools. Some were human in origin, books and powders from old alchemy texts. Others were dragon-made, crystals that could store energy, powders that glowed with magic. Kael set up a small table in the princess's room. He placed a containment circle in the center and worked carefully. He crushed herbs, mixed powders, and whispered incantations he had learned from both human texts and dragon scrolls. "Be careful," the princess whispered. "If this goes wrong—" Her voice trailed off and she shivered. Kael smiled faintly. "I will be careful, but you must trust me. You are strong, and we will do this together." The first attempt was cautious. Kael made a small potion and dipped a feather into it, testing it near the containment circle. The glowing specks reacted violently, spinning faster, then slowing slightly. It was not enough to stop them completely, but it was a sign. "They hate this mixture," Kael muttered. "I am on the right path." Night after night, he refined the potion. He tested combinations of herbs and minerals, using tiny amount of dragon magic to amplify the effect. Each time, the parasites grew weaker, but Kael realized that the princess's life force itself could help. She must focus her energy, he explained to her. "If you concentrate, think of strength and calm, the potion will work better. Fear feeds them, hope weakens them." The princess nodded. Though it was hard, she tried. Each night, she focused her thoughts on courage, memories of flying high in the skies, and trust in Kael. Slowly, the parasites began to falter, their glowing dimmer, their movements slower. But there was danger. One night, as Kael tried a new version of the potion, the largest parasite broke free from the containment circle. It darted toward the princess with deadly speed. She screamed, her wings flaring, trying to fight it. Kael acted quickly. He threw a small net made of silver threads and herbs, trapping the creature again. The room shook as the parasite struggled, its glowing body flashing like fire. The princess gasped, weak from fear, but Kael's calm hands held firm. "This is why I must succeed," he said, his voice steady. "You cannot face them alone, but together we can win." He continued experimenting, each day improving the potion, each night teaching the princess how to focus her energy. Slowly, the glowing specks weakened. Kael discovered that the parasites were not invincible. They were clever, yes, but not stronger than human ingenuity combined with dragon resilience. Finally, one evening, Kael prepared a larger dose of the potion. The princess, though tired, concentrated her energy. Kael whispered instructions, blending the herbs, powders, and a small crystal charged with dragon magic. He poured the mixture near the containment circle. The parasites writhed violently, glowing brighter. Then suddenly, one by one, they fell still. The largest parasite thrashed and then vanished in a puff of golden smoke. Kael breathed a sigh of relief. The princess looked at him, eyes wide. It worked? She asked. Kael nodded, a small smile on his face. Yes, princess. The worst is over, for now, but we must remain careful. There could be more of them, or stronger creatures hiding in the shadows. You must be ready. For the first time in days, the princess smiled. Her scales shimmered faintly in the candlelight, her wings resting peacefully. She realized that humans were not weak, after all, and perhaps dragons had underestimated them for too long. Outside the room, the castle was quiet, unaware that a simple human servant had done what no dragon healer could. A cure had been found, not by strength or magic alone, but by courage, intelligence, and trust between two very different beings. Kael cleaned his tools and prepared for the next day. He knew this was only the beginning. The parasites had been defeated, but the dragon kingdom had changed. The princess would recover, stronger than before, and the humans would no longer be ignored. And somewhere deep in the shadows, a new threat stirred, waiting for the moment to test the bond between dragons and humans once again. The dragon princess was finally resting. Her scales had regained some of their shimmer. Her breathing was steady, and the glow of life returned to her amber eyes. But Kael knew they were not yet safe. The parasites had been weakened, but they had not been destroyed completely. There could be more hiding, waiting for a chance to strike. The palace was quieter than usual that night. Most dragons were asleep, unaware that danger still lingered. Kael stayed by the princess's side, keeping the containment circle close and refining his potion. Every now and then, he glanced at the shadows, alert for any movement. Suddenly, a chill filled the room. The air felt heavy, almost alive. The largest parasite, thought defeated, had returned. It slipped silently past the containment circle, faster than Kael had imagined. Its glowing body flickered like a tiny star, but its movements were sharp and aggressive. The princess stirred, sensing the threat. "Kael's back!" she whispered, panic rising in her voice. Kael acted immediately. He grabbed a small crystal from the table, one charged with dragon magic, and held it out. "Stay calm, princess. Focus your energy on me. Fear will make it stronger." The parasite lunged, darting toward her. Its tiny fangs glimmered, glowing with dark energy. Kael threw the crystal, and it collided with the creature. The parasite shrieked and recoiled, but did not stop. It was clever, relentless, and more dangerous than before. Kael realized brute force alone would not work. He needed a strategy. Using the herbs and potions he prepared, he sprinkled a trail around the room. The parasite paused, drawn by the scent. Kael's heart pounded. This was his chance. "Now, princess," he shouted. "Focus." The princess gathered her strength. She closed her eyes, and for the first time, she concentrated purely on hope, calm, and courage. Her life force shimmered faintly, filling the room with a soft glow. The parasite shrieked again, struggling against the energy it could not feed on. Kael used this moment. He carefully captured the parasite in a small silver net, reinforced with herbs and a crystal. The creature thrashed violently, but Kael held it tight. The net pulsed with dragon magic, and slowly, the parasite's movement slowed until it was completely still. The princess exhaled, trembling but relieved. "It is gone," she asked softly. Kael shook his head. "This one, yes, but there could be others. We need to stay alert." Just then, a low rumble echoed through the castle. Kael's eyes widened. It was not just the parasites. They had drawn attention from other creatures in the shadows. Strange, dark figures moved outside the room, attracted by the glowing energy of the parasites. The princess's wings twitched nervously. "More of them?" she asked. Kael nodded. "I don't know what they are yet, but we must be ready to fight." The two of them prepared. Kael mixed a stronger version of the potion and placed it strategically around the room. The princess focused her energy, sending a calming glow outward. They were ready. The shadows moved closer. Suddenly, a swarm of smaller parasites erupted from the walls and floors, drawn by the lingering magic. They darted toward the princess, fast and sharp. Kael reacted quickly, throwing the potion at them. The mixture exploded in a small, sparkling cloud. The creatures screamed and spun away. temporarily stunned. But there were too many. Kael realized he needed more than potions. He needed teamwork. Princess, use your wings. Spread your glow, he shouted. The princess lifted her wings slowly, sending waves of calming light across the room. The parasites hesitated, their sharp movements slowing. Kael grabbed a silver net and trapped as many as he could. Slowly, carefully, they worked together, using courage, intelligence, and combined human-dragon effort to fight back the swarm. After what felt like hours, the room grew quiet again. The parasites were trapped, and the princess, though exhausted, was safe. Kael knelt beside her, wiping sweat from his brow. You saved me, the princess said, her voice filled with awe. I could never have done this alone. Kael smiled faintly. And I couldn't have done it without you focusing your energy. We make a team. Outside the room, the castle returned to its silent state, unaware of the battle that had just taken place. Kael and the princess knew this was only the beginning. The parasites had tested them, showing how dangerous they were. But together, they had survived. The princess looked at Kael with a newfound respect. You are no ordinary human, she said softly. You are brave and clever. Perhaps humans are stronger than we thought. Kael smiled, feeling a warmth in his chest. Strength comes in many forms, princess. Sometimes courage and intelligence matter more than scales and wings. The night settled over the palace again. The parasites were contained for now, but the threat was not over. Kael knew the kingdom was not yet safe, and the journey to true safety had only just begun. The morning sun barely pierced the thick clouds over the Dragon Kingdom when Kael realized the truth. Staying in the castle was no longer safe. The parasites were weakening, yes, but their presence had drawn attention. There could be more hiding in secret corners, ready to strike again. The princess needed to be moved. Somewhere secure, where Kael could finish the cure and train her to defend herself. Princess, Kael said quietly, we must leave. The castle is no longer safe. The parasites, or something worse, may be hiding. The princess stirred, her amber eyes wide but determined. I trust you, Kael. If you say we must leave, we will leave. They packed lightly, herbs, potions, and the few tools Kael had used to contain the parasites. The princess's wings, though weakened, could still carry them. She wrapped herself in a cloak to hide her identity and followed Kael through secret corridors. The palace was still asleep, or at least pretending to be. Kael led the way, ducking under arches, slipping past guards who had no idea what danger had already struck their royal princess. Every shadow felt alive, every sound a possible threat. Outside, the world was quiet but tense. The forest beyond the castle walls stretched like a dark sea of green. Kael glanced around. We must move fast. The parasites may have called others, and dragons from rival clans may hear of her sickness. We cannot let anyone stop us. The princess nodded, gripping Kael's arm for support as they moved. Her wings twitched nervously, still weak from the sickness. How far can we go? She asked. Far enough to reach the sanctuary, Kael replied. It's hidden. Only a few know the path. There we can be safe and prepare the final cure. They traveled through the dense forest, using paths that only humans would dare walk. Branches scratched at their faces, roots threatened to trip them, and every rustle in the undergrowth made the princess tense. But Kael guided her steadily. His knowledge of the land, combined with careful observation, kept them safe. As they moved, Kael noticed strange footprints along the ground. Dragons? Or perhaps another creature, drawn by the princess's weakened state. Stay close, he whispered. We are not alone. Hours passed. The princess grew tired, her wings drooping. Kael encouraged her, giving her water and small doses of the potion he had perfected. Slowly, her strength returned, and she regained some of her usual pride and fierceness. Suddenly, a shadow loomed above. A dragon, larger and darker than any Kael had seen, descended from the sky. Its eyes glowed with suspicion and anger. Princess, it roared, return to the castle. Your sickness cannot go unchecked. The princess flared her wings, but Kael stepped forward. We cannot return, he shouted. She is not safe there. If you attack, you will face me. The dragon hesitated. Humans were usually weak. This one, though, stood fearless. Kael held a small crystal, pulsing with dragon magic, ready to defend them. The princess realized something astonishing. The human was not just clever, but brave. Dragons had underestimated him, just as they had underestimated humans for centuries. She spread her wings, ready to fly. The large dragon hesitated, then roared again and circled above. Kael whispered an incantation, strengthening the princess's wings with a faint magical glow. She lifted off the ground, carrying Kael with her. They soared into the sky, the wind rushing past them. The pursuing dragon tried to follow, but the princess, with Kael's guidance, weaved through the forest canopies, hiding and gaining distance. Below, the trees blurred into a dark green carpet, and the castle vanished behind the clouds. Hours later, they reached the sanctuary, a hidden valley surrounded by cliffs, with a small stream running through it. The air was calm, the night silent, and the area protected by ancient wards. The princess landed carefully, exhausted but safe. Kael helped her down, and together they hid the entrances with natural obstacles. They set up a small camp. Kael prepared herbs, checking the containment circle, while the princess rested. "We made it," she whispered. "Thanks to you." Kael shook his head. "We are not safe yet. The parasites are weak, yes, but we still need the final cure. And there may be more dangers waiting outside. We have time here, but we must remain vigilant." The princess looked around at the quiet sanctuary. For the first time, she felt something she had never felt before. Hope mixed with respect. "Humans may be stronger than dragons think," she said softly. Kael smiled faintly, tending to the herbs and potion preparations. "And dragons may need humans more than they realize." Outside, the moon rose over the hidden valley. The forest whispered, the air was still. But Kael knew this sanctuary would not remain untouched forever. The flight to safety was only the beginning. Ahead lay battles, discoveries, and challenges that would test both human courage and dragon strength. But for now, they were safe. And that was enough. The hidden valley was calm, almost deceptively peaceful. The dragon princess had regained much of her strength, and Kael continued refining the final potion that would remove every parasite for good. Yet, neither of them could forget the danger that still lurked. Kael knew it was only a matter of time before the parasites, or something even worse, returned. Late one night, as the moon rose high, a soft rustling echoed through the trees. Kael's senses sharpened instantly. "Princess," he whispered, "they're here." The princess's wings twitched, ready to take flight. Her amber eyes glowed faintly in the moonlight. "How many?" she asked. Kael scanned the shadows. "Too many to count," he said, "and they're moving fast." Suddenly, the ground shook as the largest parasite, thought destroyed, led a swarm of smaller creatures through the forest. Their glowing bodies flashed in the dark, like a swarm of fiery embers, moving with terrifying intelligence. Kael grabbed his tools and herbs. "Stay behind me, princess. Use your wings to protect yourself, but focus your energy on calmness." The creatures lunged at the princess, their tiny fangs aimed for her life force. She flared her wings, creating a shield of shimmering light that forced the swarm back momentarily. But they were relentless. Kael's heart pounded. There was no time to think. He had to act. He grabbed a handful of the potion, throwing it into the swarm. The mixture exploded in sparks of light, stunning the parasites. But only a few. The rest charged forward, hungry and furious. The princess realized what Kael was trying to do. She closed her eyes and focused every ounce of her energy on hope, calm, and courage. A soft golden glow spread from her body, pushing back the swarm. The parasites screamed in resistance, their glow dimming slightly. Kael seized the moment. Using a net reinforced with silver threads and infused with dragon magic, he captured as many as he could. He moved quickly, trapping the remaining parasites one by one, guided by the princess's steady energy. The battle was fierce. The parasites were faster and cleverer than Kael expected. One of the larger ones broke free, striking directly at the princess. She shrieked, faltering for a moment, but Kael reacted instantly. He threw a small crystal charged with dragon magic, hitting the parasite midair. It shrieked and fell, finally still, breathing heavily. Kael looked at the princess. "Are you all right?" he asked. The princess nodded, though her wings trembled from exhaustion. "Thanks to you," she said. "Your courage, your mind, it saved me." Kael shook his head. "It was a team effort. You helped too. Your energy, your focus, it guided me." The last of the parasites had been contained, the swarm destroyed. The night air was quiet again, the only sound there heavy breathing. The hidden valley was safer now. The princess, though tired, looked at Kael with awe. "I never thought a human could be so strong, so brave. You are no ordinary servant." Kael smiled faintly, feeling warmth spread in his chest. Strength isn't just about wings or claws. Sometimes courage and intelligence matter more. Outside the valley, distant lights flickered. Kael knew this battle was only the beginning. The parasites had tested them, but stronger enemies might be coming. Still, for the first time, they had fought together, and won. The princess flexed her wings, feeling her scales shimmer in the moonlight. "I feel stronger," she said softly. "Not just because of the potion, but because of you, Kael. I trust humans more now." Kael nodded. "And maybe dragons will learn to trust humans too. But we must be ready. The kingdom is not safe yet." As dawn broke over the hidden valley, the princess and Kael prepared for the next challenge. The parasites had been defeated, but the journey was far from over. They had learned a valuable lesson. Courage, intelligence, and trust could overcome threats that seemed impossible, even for dragons. Somewhere beyond the mountains, other dangers were stirring. And when they arrived, the princess and Kael would be ready, not just to survive, but to fight as equals. For now, though, the first battle had been won. And in that victory, a bond was forged, one that would change the Dragon Kingdom forever. The hidden valley was quiet, but the air was tense. The Dragon Princess and Kael had survived the first battle, yet both knew this peace was temporary. Beyond the mountains and forests, stronger forces were stirring. Creatures had sensed a weakened princess and now saw her as a prize. Kael had spent weeks refining the final potion, combining herbs, human knowledge, and dragon magic. Every step had been carefully calculated. Tonight, they would finish what they started, removing the parasites for good and ensuring the princess's safety. "Are you ready?" Kael asked, holding the final mixture. The princess nodded, her amber eyes steady. "I am. We have come so far. Let's end this." They prepared the containment circle in the center of the valley. Kael placed the potion carefully, charging it with dragon magic through a crystal, while the princess focused all her energy on calmness and courage. The glow of her life force expanded, mixing with the potion's magic. At first, nothing happened. Then, the ground trembled. Shadows moved around the circle. The largest parasite, the leader of the swarm, had returned, furious and glowing brighter than ever. It screeched, darting toward the princess, faster than before. Kael stepped forward, holding the crystal high. "Stay calm, princess. Focus." The parasite lunged, and the princess flared her wings, spreading golden light across the valley. Kael threw the potion into the circle. It exploded in a dazzling burst of sparks and energy. The parasite screamed, its glowing body flickering uncontrollably. This time, Kael was ready. Using a combination of silver nets, crystals, his refined potion, he trapped the parasite leader completely. The smaller creatures scattered in confusion, their energy disrupted by the powerful combination of human ingenuity and dragon life force. The princess focused harder, channeling her calm energy through the valley. Slowly, one by one, the remaining parasites were pulled toward the containment circle and neutralized. They shrieked, struggled, and then vanished in flashes of golden smoke. The valley was silent. The air felt lighter, warmer. The battle was over. Kael sank to the ground, exhausted but triumphant. The princess looked at him, her wings spread wide, glowing faintly in the moonlight. "You did it," she whispered. "We did it together." Kael shook his head. "No, princess. You did it too. Your focus, your courage, without it, nothing would have worked." The princess's scales shimmered like molten gold. I underestimated humans, and I overestimated my own strength. You have taught me that courage and intelligence matter as much as magic and wings. Kael smiled, feeling a sense of pride and relief. And you've taught me that even the strongest must trust others. Together, we can face anything. As the first light of dawn touched the valley, a group of dragons appeared at the edge. Elder Draconis and a few of the royal guards had followed, curious and cautious. They watched in awe as the princess stood tall, fully healed beside Kael, the human who had saved her. Elder Draconis stepped forward, bowing his massive head. Princess, Kael, I see now. Humans are not weak. Courage, intelligence, and determination, these can overcome even the greatest threats. You have proven it tonight. The princess nodded proudly. Yes, Elder. Humans and dragons, we can achieve more together than apart. Kael has shown that strength is not measured by wings alone. The dragons murmured among themselves. For centuries, humans have been seen as servants, helpers, and weaker beings. But tonight changed everything. A human had saved a dragon princess, defeated impossible enemies, and proven that trust and intelligence could rival magic in scale. Kael looked at the dragons. We fought together. We can continue to protect the kingdom together. The Elder Draconis nodded. Then let it be known, from this day forward, humans will be respected as allies, not servants. And your courage, Kael, will be remembered as a legend. The dragon princess lowered her head to Kael, a rare gesture of deep respect. You are no longer my servant, she said softly. You are my equal, my friend, my protector. Kael felt a warmth he had never known. For the first time, he was not just a human in a dragon kingdom. He was a hero, a legend in his own right. Outside the valley, the sun rose over the mountains. The dragon kingdom was safe, the parasites destroyed, and a new alliance had been forged, one that would change the world forever. Humans and dragons, working together, could face any threat, no matter how powerful or cunning. And far beyond the horizon, whispers of new dangers stirred. But the dragon princess and Kael knew this. Together, they were unstoppable. Legends had risen, and the story of their courage, trust, and teamwork would be told for generations to come.